Okay, it does look like we are live. It does look like we are live, and it is 4:36 p.m. here on the East Coast, coming up on 4:37. So we're starting a little early, a little bit of a pregame show. Tom actually requested an earlier show. I thought he was the one that wanted the shows to be later, but anyway, I get confused. So we're going to do one a little bit earlier today, and this is a topic that we've touched on before, but I'm going to expand on it. And let me get into the chat here. Okay, and we are early, so hopefully notifications will go out and people will realize that we're live. And we're going to talk about Bitcoin again, and we're going to talk about the concept of buying items and whether or not it's a wise decision to buy a particular item. And so one of the things we're going to discuss is what I call the concept of digital rot, but that only applies to digital items like digital cameras, computers, things like that, where my theory is that when you buy something like that, it immediately starts to rot away, if you will. It marches towards obsolescence, and as time progresses, it will become less useful, and eventually it will become totally useless. And so you better get a lot of use out of that item as quickly as possible and just milk the use out of it, because it will become obsolete. And so if you purchase something for a lot of money and then you don't use it much, you come out behind, right? That's the kind of concept there. And it's also can be applied to other things, like the little old lady that bought furniture and had it covered with plastic for 40 years and never really got the full enjoyment out of the furniture, and then she passed away and it was sold for a pittance at the yard sale, right? She didn't milk the use out of that item, so that expenditure didn't turn out to be very efficient use of the cash. And so on this particular show, we're going to talk about, this is a little bit of a flashback, and let me see if I can find the, I want to find the show that we talked about this before, and I'll bring it up here on the screen. Just give me a moment here, and the folks are coming in the chat. There's about 7 people in now, and they're coming on in. Carlos is in. Hello to Carlos. And let me go in here and I'll get the link. And I did put it in the description of this video. There's a link to the original video from November 17, 2018, when we talked about this. And so I'm going to get the link to this and put it in another window. And this is the actual show today, and then I'll show you the notes, and so I can tell you what I'm referring to. There's a method here. There's a method to my madness. Bear with me, I should have had this prepared. Okay, let me pause that and switch to the computer. Okay, so from the November 17 show, this was the question, if you have some extra money, should you go into a Rolex authorized dealer and walk out with a new Air King, Milgauss, DATEJUST, or Date8? Should you buy one or more Bitcoin and hold until 2024? In other words, instead of the watches. And at that time, the Bitcoin was $6,490. And so that was the question we asked back then. And of course, if you would have bought the Rolex for let's say you could probably buy a DATEJUST for $6,490 back then. Maybe you'd have to pay a little more than one Bitcoin. Of course, the Bitcoin is worth close to $50,000 today, so that would have turned out to be a rather expensive Rolex to buy. And I will give you some more examples. Some more examples here. I'm going to go to a website called Bitcoin or S-H-I-T. This is a rather creative website. So let's bring this up. This is funny. If you bought Bitcoin instead of, and then there's a foul word, stupid, you know what, you'd have X amount of dollars. Okay, so we click here, right? And they say here, if you'd have bought a Pornhub subscription for $9.99 on January 1st, 2015, for 0.03 Bitcoin, you'd have $1,500 today. And so, okay, so let's keep, he says that's worth it. And then if you would have bought a 4-hour chef, what is that? I don't even know what that is, for 0.89 Bitcoin. So he gives a whole bunch of examples here, and it's all automated. If you would have bought 50 Shades of Grey for $19.99 back on 5/1/2011, I guess that is. Okay. And it just goes through a whole bunch of different things. There's a Louis Vuitton Supreme chest. That would have been 53 Bitcoin back in 2017. That would be worth $2 million, so you better like that chest. So it goes through a whole bunch of examples. And what's interesting is you don't have to apply this to a Bitcoin investment. Obviously, this is an extreme case because Bitcoin has gone up so much in the last 10 years. But even if you use the math that we used one other time talking about the same subject on the show, where a typical investment with a decent return, you like to get about a 10% return a year. And basically every 7 years, your investment doubles. And so we ran the math on that. If you would have bought like a Submariner, for example, 30 years ago, and if instead you would have taken that money and invested it and just gotten a 10% return every year, you would be way ahead with the investment. So what this tells me is if you buy an expensive item, and I buy a lot of expensive items, use it. Use the heck out of it. Get the use out of it, because you're not going to make it from a standpoint of an investment. Okay, so these people that are buying watches as an investment and they leave them in the box and they're not even wearing and enjoying them, they're getting the shaft. Okay, they're getting screwed. But if you buy that expensive watch and you get some real use out of it, and it's part of your wardrobe, if you will, part of your success story, if you will, I am convinced that dressing nice gives you a competitive advantage. I've always felt that way. Maybe that's not the case, but I've always felt that way, and I think it's always given me a competitive advantage throughout life to be decently dressed. And I think that includes a nice timepiece. So if you get a lot of use out of those items, then that's a different story. That's a tool that you're getting use out of, right? My cameras, this camera number 1 that's on me right now, that I've had for 6 years, and I've used the heck out of that camera. I've taken tens of thousands of photos with it. I have shot a ton of videos with it. So I have milked as much use out of that camera as I possibly can, because I know that it would become obsolete eventually. And right now, it's my dedicated webcam for these shows, because I bought the new A7S Mark III to replace it, because it has major upgrades. That's 6 years of time. It took them to come out with that new upgraded camera, and it is a major upgrade, so I got it. But in the meantime, I've gotten a ton of use out of the A7S Mark II. Now, that was an expensive camera when I bought it. I think it was around $3,000. And that was 6 years ago. So again, that money would have doubled. That'd be $12,000 right now if I would have invested that money. But I wouldn't have gotten 6 years of use out of the camera, right? So I milked the use out of the camera and used it to make money and things like that. So to my rough calculations, since that show, it has increased equivalent to 89% a year. There you go. There's Carlos. Carlos always can do math. I will redo calculation to check. Okay. Cheetown's in the house. I don't call Rolexes good investments because you can't make passive income off them without selling the watch or renting it out to someone. Well, you know, an investment doesn't always have to generate income. And if you buy raw land, for example, that's always been traditionally a good investment if you buy it in an area that is a growth area, because eventually somebody's going to want that raw land. Like, for example, Walmart might want it to build a Walmart on it, right? And then you're going to make out like a killing. You might sit on that raw land for 20 or 30 years to do that, but sometimes that's well worth it. Sometimes the return on an investment of raw land can be significant. Now, of course, you have to pay taxes on it that whole time. But again, if the return is enough, then it's justified. So yeah, some investments don't have to return income, you know, on a regular basis. Sometimes the money's made when you sell it, right? A lot of times with real estate, most of the money's made when you sell. A lot of real estate folks say, you know, the money's made on the buy. In other words, buy that real estate right. And then, of course, sell it for as much as you can get eventually when you do sell it. Anton's in the house. Craig, so glad you're live streaming. David's in the house. Hi, Craig and all. And Carlos says 840 days has passed since that show. Congrats to 4K, 40,000 subs, Anton, in the house. Yep, I pick up a couple hundred subs a month usually. I don't know why, but they come. Some of them are disappointed, though, with the content, so I don't know what to tell you. And Kyle's in the house. David's all over the place. Kevin, the U.S. Federal Reserve IT system went down today. I heard about that. Let's see. Carlos, 0.2397% daily interest. That is 87.5 yearly. Hey, David, I hope all is well in Vegas. There you go. And there was a big sell-off in Bitcoin recently. Some whale is trying to manipulate the price and trying to keep it below $50,000. That's evident in the activity that's been going on, that there's a tug of war between, you know, the bears and the bulls, and there must be some whale that's trying to protect his position, and he's been trying to suppress the price. We're going to see how long he can do that. Michael Saylor announced that he finished his recent purchase of more than $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, and he paid an average of $52,100, I think, roughly, for that Bitcoin. So more than $52,000 per Bitcoin he paid for $1 billion worth of Bitcoin in this recent purchase. And so he officially, as of now, has lost money on that Bitcoin. It's at 48,000 something. So, but that's happened before to Michael. I think the first batch he bought, he paid a premium. He paid over the current price for it. I think when you buy huge amounts like that, sometimes you have to pay a little more. And of course, he might have started the buying before this dip happened and so on and so forth. But we'll see a week from now or 2 weeks from now. We'll see if he's still in the red or if he's back up in the black. Exciting times in 2021. This is going to be exciting to watch this whole thing play out. Some people are saying there's going to be a super cycle. We will see. Now, let me play with the lower third. I had the browser maximized, and I forgot you got to take the mouse up to the top, and then the menu comes down where you can unmaximize that. So anyway, in the middle of yesterday's show, I was going to run the Frederick Fence Company lower third and impress Charlie, but I couldn't pull it off without really being distracted. So let's try this with the little treasury one and see if we can make this work. Keep our fingers crossed that this actually works. And there I've got the little Treasury Jewelers logo on there, and then the rest of the lower third. And then if I push it again, it just flies off. All right. And then if I go back arrow, that resets it. Then if I push it again, I can bring it back on. And then I can toggle it on and off by just hitting the chroma key button here. If I hit off, then I'm back to full screen, and without it, if I hit on, then I've got the little Treasury logo there. So again, the reason that we've got the black bars on either side, not really totally full screen, is because of the resolution of this monitor is not the correct 16:9 resolution. And there are some better ways to do lower thirds with this setup, and I'm exploring those. And we might up our game here a little bit on the channel, folks. We might start doing some fancy stuff like all the other channels do. All the other channels do some fancy stuff, right? So why wouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? What do you guys think? Should we do some fancy stuff? Let's see here. Be a service in the house. Hello, Craigster. The Patek Nautilus has been discontinued and prices have skyrocketed to 6 digits. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I don't know what to say. And please, dear God, don't tell me people are paying 6 digits for a steel watch. Please don't tell me that. I will have a coronary. Kyle's in the house. I got the 12 mini last year. Love it. Wait, what's the 12 mini? What am I missing here? What is the 12 mini? I don't know what that is. I guess I'm stupid, but anyway, I forget things. Carlos is in the house. And let's see, 66 is in the house. He says, hi, Steve and all. Okay. And is Steve here? I don't see Steve, but maybe. Anton's in the house. I'm in thoughts of buying a full gold Omega watch for $12K, 18 karat, 230 gram, probably 170 gram of 18 karat gold. Sound cheap to me. Anton, if you can email us a link, I'd love to look at it. Email me. It's my name, CraigShipp, CraigShipp @gmail.com. Send us a link, and we'll take a look. And do let us know in the chat that you sent it so that I'll pull it up. Love to do that on the show. Kyle's in the house. Craig, I thought you were broadcasting in 4K a few years back. Am I mistaken? Not live. No, we never tried live 4K. First of all, this system won't support it. And I really don't think I have the bandwidth to do it. I was streaming at a higher bit rate than I am now, but I started getting some buffering issues, and so I lowered the bit rate a little bit. It's still a pretty good bit rate. But not 4K. All my produced work is 4K, but not the live streams. Let's see. Cheetown, you need to have a pretty decent upstream pipe. If I had gigabit Ethernet here, I could probably pull it off. Cheetown's in the house. The Patek Nautilus 5711 is proof that being rich doesn't equal having common sense or good taste, I might add, or good taste. iPhone 12. Okay, iPhone 12. I got you now. I'm on it now. I thought about it after Cheetown asked about your battery change. Oh, okay, cool. I'll tell you what, the battery change, they pulled it off nicely. They changed out the battery, and the phone's been great. And so I'm going to use this thing. I'm going to wear it out, puppies. I'm going to wear this puppy out. Let's see. Again, milk that use out of that item, right? Milk it out. And again, I'm not saying don't buy a nice watch. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying buy a super nice watch. Go see Steve at Little Treasury, littletreasury.com, and buy a beautiful Grand Seiko. If you can swing a gold stunner, do that. If not, buy a beautiful titanium piece. That's what I would do, a titanium piece. And then wear the heck out of it. That's what I'm saying. Wear it. Get use out of it, because it's a big expenditure, and that money is not working for you in the form of an investment any longer. It's a piece of equipment. It's a piece of gear, and if it's a piece of gear, milk the use out of it. That's what I say. Let's see. Cheetown, Carlos, what link are you going to use? Caljet, how's the battery life on your 12 mini? My 12 Pro is pretty good. 5G sucks down battery a lot. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, they'll probably get the bugs worked out of that. It was the same problem with 4G when it first came out. It was killing batteries big time. But they seem to have worked that issue out. Let's see. The link that I use most formally is, okay. All right, so I don't know what they're talking about there. Kyle's in the house. I haven't noticed any issues when I go to bed. It's around 30 to 40%, so lasts over a day. The battery is good so far. There you go. And anytime you can top off your phone during the day, it's always good. With lithium-ion batteries, you only get so many deep discharges, if you will. And so the more you can keep it charged up, the longer it's going to last. So there you go. Does Steve still do deals if I mention your name? Yes, he will. He will, or we'll slap him around. We'll slap him around. I had to slap him around a little bit. I called him up today. And I slapped him around a little bit today. I straightened him out. I said, listen, you got to sharpen your pencil when these people call you. So he's ready. He's ready to do deals. Absolutely, he's ready. Steve at Little Treasury, littletreasury.com. That's right. Let's see. I just prefer the size. It's so small. That's why I like my iPhone 10 here. It's a reasonable size, very reasonable size. I don't think it's as small as your Mini, but I think this is a very good compromise. I wouldn't want one any bigger than this. So, yeah. Okay. I just received a pocket watch that was owned by my grandfather. I will pick it up in Madrid this summer. I've sent you a photo. Oh, cool. We will take a look. ViewServe says, I just got the screen and battery replaced on my old iPhone 6 last generation with headphone jack. Oh, cool. Cool. Who did the screen replacement and what did that cost? Because Brianna's screen is broken on her phone. All the kids break their screens, That's the thing they do these days. Carlos says, I use Waterman ink, but I have... Okay, there we go. Pen, talking about pens, I guess. Carlos, can we see it? Craig is a good fellow. Okay, ViewServe. Waterman is reliable ink. Okay, let's do this. Let's figure this out. Let's pull this photo up from Carlos. I'm looking forward to seeing this. Let's cut to the 231 while I take care of the mechanics over here. I take care of the mechanics. Oh, cool. How cool is this? How cool is that? I like it. I'd like to see a side view of it too, though. But it looks like it might be a little bit on the trim side, a little bit thin, which is good. A lot of pocket watches are really thick. But that is gorgeous. Wow. Put some more details in the Carlos, put some more details in the chat about this puppy. I can't zoom in on it for some reason. That is neat. I love the chain. You give us more of the history, the details of it. How old is it? These kind of cool things. Let's see. Screen replacement cost me $70. I didn't really shop around, though. Well, where did you go? How did you get it done? Kyle's in the house. That is nice. G-Town. Craig, what do you think of people who trade in their brand new phones every year for new ones, claiming they are investing in themselves and they are worried about depreciation? Nice. Okay, well, here's the thing with the phones. I mean, we use the phones a lot, okay? We really do. Most people do. So I think if you're going to spend money, if you're going to splurge on anything, it should be your phone, especially if you're using it to make money. If it's helping you make money, and for example, if you're using the camera on the phone often, every year they get pretty significant updates on the camera. So I think that if you're going to spend money, that might be an okay thing to do. Now, mine's 3 years old. I plan on keeping it indefinitely because I don't really use the camera on this that much. Not for anything important. Okay, for anything important, I use a real camera. So for me, the camera upgrades aren't critical at all, and everything else on the phone functions fine. If I found that the phone was slowing me down in any way, shape, or form, yes, I would replace it immediately. So that's a long way of saying if the phone is at all slowing you down or hampering you in your work, and the new model will fix that problem, then yes, I think it's a small price to pay to, I would just sell the old one and buy the new one is the way I would do it. But yes, I would do that. That would be a situation where I would do that because, again, competitive advantage, if you're using that phone and part of your work and part of your way to make money, if you will, what's a few $100 a year? It's the difference is only going to be several $100s because these things have a great resale value, right? You can resell it and buy the new one and do okay on that deal. Again, you're talking to a guy that my first cell phone that I bought was $3,500, right? And that was back in like 1983. So calculate how much that $3,500 would be today. They were expensive back in the day. And it wasn't a computer. So I'm a firm believer in having a really good cell phone. Let's see. It was gifted to my grandfather as a gift from a company that he was on the board of directors. The logo of the company is in the chain. Oh, how cool is that? It's a Baume & Mercier, and I assume it's solid gold. I'm sure it is. Wow, that is beautiful. Beautiful, Carlos. Let's see. Be a Serve says, Craig, do you think Apple holds back on technology so they have something new to unveil for the next gens? I think they are very conservative on releasing upgrades or improvements because they sell so many phones. Can you imagine if they rolled something out too soon and it had issues? And sometimes they have done that, right? And it really bites them in the butt. And so I think they are conservative about rolling things out. Like, for example, 5G, I think they waited longer than other companies. And so that's typical for Apple. But I don't think they're doing it just because they can have something cool to roll out the next time. I think they're doing it because they're conservative about rolling out the new, quote, upgrades. They want to make sure that they really are upgrades. So I think they are, I don't think they have a problem being light years ahead of the competition. They are. In my opinion, they are light years ahead of the competition. I wouldn't have an Android phone on a bet. So, yeah, I don't think they've been holding back to any real extent. I think what they've been doing is being conservative, just like Bitcoin is conservative. And that their motto is not, move fast and break things, right? Their motto is move slow and don't break anything. And so that's why it's so robust. Let's see, Cheetown says, I find that you can buy a brand new iPhone and you can get at least 3 to 4 years of trouble-free use out of it. Yeah, again, if you're not relying on the camera as your main camera, I think you absolutely can. I mean, mine's working fine. But if you're using that camera, they've had some significant upgrades almost every year on the cameras. BIOS serves in the house. I'm with Craig. Sometimes I want to throw my phone in the river and never look at it, but it is an incredible tool. Well, yeah, if and when I ever retire, I might not have any computers or any iPhones or anything around me. I might just be playing tennis, volleyball, hanging out on the beach. It wouldn't break my heart. And the lovely Bree Fit Dance is in the house, and she's working on some things. Stay tuned. She's working on some really cool tech for some of her videos, and she's going to start learning how to use Motion, Apple's program Motion. She's working with. She did those animated lower thirds. She did those in Keynote. And so stay tuned for some really cool stuff coming from the lovely lady Brianna. And let me show her website. Since she's in the chat, I'll go ahead and show her website. What the heck? briefitdance.com, briefitdance.com. And on her website, there are a whole bunch of links of ways that you can donate. That's her watch, by the way. That's her gold Grand Seiko. And you can, there's a bunch of links on there where you can donate. She's gotten some decent donations recently. And so, if she keeps getting donations, then she can keep creating content. She is a content creating machine. Okay, so let's see. Yes, I got it early January. It was a Christmas gift for my sons. Okay, that was okay. Craig, what do you think of gambling? GALM. I bet $5,000 to $6,000 on just a spin of roulette, for example. Oh, actual gambling. No, I'm not a fan of gambling. Although people would say buying Bitcoin back when I did was certainly gambling, but I think not quite as risky. And by the way, the bigger the market cap gets for Bitcoin, especially if it gets back over $1 trillion, then the safer it gets, believe it or not. The higher the price gets, the lower the risk factor. So every year it survives. It's called the Lindy effect. And as the market cap gets higher, there are more investors that are willing to invest. There are certain investors that are not allowed to invest in things that have less than $1 trillion market cap. So once it is clearly over that $1 trillion threshold and sustaining that, you're going to see, I think, a lot of institutional money coming in that previously was not allowed to invest. So it's going to become less risky. Now, the potential upside will also be less, right? With less risk, there's less upside. So it's a trade-off. But as of now, I think there's still a significant upside, and there's also less risk. Craig, you got to Xbox? No, unfortunately, I don't do any of the gaming stuff. Don't do any of the gaming stuff. Now you can get paid doing gaming, so I would probably get involved, right? If I wasn't such an old, codger, I would probably get involved in the gaming and try to get paid for doing gaming. That would be pretty cool. Ajipu's in the house. Craig, you plan on retiring? You seem like the type of guy that won't stop working. I probably won't. I enjoy what I do. I will do more and more of what I enjoy the most. And some things that are kind of like chores, I will kind of like let them kind of go by the wayside a little more. So that's what I'll kind of do, is just tune my activities more towards the things that I really enjoy the most, is probably what I'll do. Lamont's in the house. My dad's hooked it up for Christmas for me. Okay, there you go. Craig, have you ever played chess with Bree? Has she bested you? I don't think she knows how to play chess. I think I got to teach her. I think I asked her about that, and I don't think she's up on the chess thing, but maybe I'll teach her. I haven't played for a long time. I enjoyed it, though. I used to play back in the day, but I just don't seem like I have time to sit down and concentrate and do a game of chess. But, maybe we'll do that. Vegas wasn't built on winners in the casinos, folks. Remember that. Cheat Town. There you go. Anton's in the house. Do you know why I love you? 'Cause you're aware and just tell us the truth. Anton. Whoa, okay. Hey, that's what I try to do on the show, on the channel. We call it the way we see it. We absolutely do that. Carlos is in the house. The only thing that is one with disk, and I paid for that useless feature, it's huge size. Okay, all right, I'm not sure what that's about. Okay. Craig, have you been in Las Vegas any time? I drove through there. I didn't stop. When I was going to Los Angeles to deliver the Corvette that I sold to a gentleman out there, I drove through Vegas, and I did not stop. No, and I did go there one other time. And, geez, I forget what I even did. I know I wasn't there very long, But again, we were delivering a couple of cars out west, and we swung through there for some reason. And I do remember that a buddy of mine that was riding with us that had been giving us a hard time, we set a specific time to meet back at the truck, because we had a truck. We had one electric car in the back of the truck, actually 2 electric cars in the back of the truck. It was a 24-foot rider truck. And then we had a trailer behind it with a car on that. And there were 3 of us that were making the trip so we could drive in shifts. And this friend of mine, Jack, was giving us a hard time, and he was a pain in the neck on the trip. And so we set a time for him to meet us back at the truck. This was mean. This was bad. See, when I was younger, I wasn't as nice a guy. Anyway, it was one of these huge parking lots that they had out there, and we were parked way at the end of the parking lot, and with this truck. And me and the other guy got back to the truck, and we were early. It was like about 10 minutes before the time we were supposed to meet back at the truck, right? And we saw Jack walking way off in the distance, walking towards the truck, right? And I looked at my watch, and it was about 10 minutes before the meeting time, right? And the other guy name was Brent that was with me. And I looked at my watch. It was a Rolex at the time. I forget which one, probably GM2 Master. I looked at my watch, and I said, geez, I said, it looks like Jack's late. And I unscrewed the crown, and I moved the time forward to 1 minute past the time he was supposed to be at the truck. And I said, look, Brent, I said, it looks like he's late. And Brent said, yeah, I agree, he's late. And so we drove off and left him in Vegas. That was pretty mean. So, but we lost a driver, so oh well. But he had a fun time. He said he stayed a couple more days, and he shook it off. He survived it. So there you go. Anton says, the flow of comments is just as much fast as channels with 1,000 of views, and we're only 17 because we're all genuine. There you go. Yeah, we get some action here in the chat. So, and this is this channel is only for people that are, like you say, genuine, real, honest, good, solid folks, because we've blocked most of the others. I've blocked a lot of people. Glad we all got in below 10K, right, folks? Thanks to your advice. I've gotten some emails recently from some folks. Let's do a time check. I've gotten some emails recently from some folks that said they did buy back in the day when I was talking about it. And one gentleman sent me an email and said it literally changed his life. So that was nice to get an email like that. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Do you enjoy fishing? I don't. I've only fished a few times, and I know a lot of people love it, but I'd rather be playing tennis or something like that, or hiking up a really nice hiking trail. Yeah, I like to be in motion a little more than just standing and fishing or sitting and fishing or whatever. Yeah. And sometimes in that situation, you got like mosquitoes trying to bite you and other wildlife. Nature is often trying to kill you. You know that? That's something about nature. Its job is to try to kill us. So, yeah. So you got to be careful about all that. Craig, you left Brent in Vegas. No, it wasn't Brent. It was Jack. I'm not going to give his last name because you guys will find him on Facebook and rib him about it. He's a friend of mine on Facebook. And it was another Brent that was the other driver. There were 3 of us that went on the trip. And it was a whirlwind trip. I mean, we had to get out there. We had to drop one car in Arizona at a crash test facility. They were going to crash test it. And then 2 other cars, I think, we took out to somewhere near Los Angeles. And then we turned around and went back, made a beeline back. So it was on the road, just nonstop, back and forth, because I had to get back. Time wasted on the road is wasted time. Have you ever been into hi-fi? Do you love music? I used to listen to a lot more music, but not that much anymore. And I had some decent sound systems back in the day, but nowadays it's kind of boring. I listen mainly to podcasts when I walk. I go for a long walk, and I listen mainly to podcasts. You might have smaller views in others, but I say quality over quantity. There you go. Kyle's in the house. People used to get wrenched out of here left and right. We are still waiting for Mr. Q to do the knife show, though. Yeah, we need the knife show back. Absolutely. He had 2 more bags full of knives that we haven't seen. Okay, and Cheetown. Derek says, Craig, do you rate Bill Murray over Tom Hanks? I do. I like them both. I think that's a coin toss, Derek. Cheetown's in the house. Craig, I've heard these guys who have safety deposit boxes full of steel Rolexes complain about their lack of availability, but would they be happy if Rolex actually met demand? I think not. Well, of course not. Then their, quote, investment would really crash. They'd have a box full of worthless steel watches. Talk about something that's in a bubble. I mean, my gosh, steel Rolexes. Come on. And Carlos says, of course. So he rates Bill Murray over Tom Hanks. Carlos does. Okay. I could go. Like I say, I think they both have made some great movies over the years. I like them both. And I haven't seen much recent stuff from Bill Murray. Of course, I don't watch much recent stuff. So, I'm trying to think what else. What else we need to recap on. Okay, so what do you guys think? What are your thoughts? Let's bring up the Bitcoin chart. If it'll load in here. It may or may not load in. Oh, there it is. What do you guys think? Obviously, there's a lot of pressure to keep it below $50,000. A lot of resistance, if you will. What do you guys think? Where is the price of Bitcoin going to be 30 days from now? What do you guys think? March 24, 2021. What's the price of Bitcoin going to be? What's your best guess? Anton's in the house. What do you think of old sub Rolex gold with hollow links? Little weak. See, here's the thing. I love the old gold Submariners with the older pre-super case. I'm not a fan of the super case. But that's the problem is they all have bracelet stretch issues. So that's the issue. But the problem is the only way to get around the bracelet stretch issues is to buy the newer watches that have the ceramic pins in the middle sleeves, in the middle links. They have the solid links, but they have those ceramic sleeves in there that the pin goes through. And I believe they're starting to put that in most of the solid gold watches. I know they started with the, I think the Date 40. I think that was the first one that had it. Maybe it was the, what was that one that was before the Date 40, that one that was a total flop? Anyway, it may have had it also, but I know the Date 40 did, and then I think the year later, I think they rolled it into the 36 mil Date 8s. And then I heard that they were rolling that into the other all gold models. So that's the thing that I don't like about the older gold Rolex watches is that bracelet stretch issue. So it might make sense to pay up and buy a newer model. And again, I don't like the super cases, so that means I'd probably just have to get a Date 8 and be done with it and call it a day. Jeepu's in the house. Craig, did your Costco get any more sweet potatoes, or are you still... I do have sweet potatoes, yes. They did have them. I bought several bags, and I do have them in stock. And Kyle's guessing it's going to be $55,000 in 30 days. I think it will either be lower than it is now, maybe in the low 40s, or I think it'll be more like 70. I think it's going to be one or the other. I think if it blows through 50,000 and gets some momentum, I think it'll go to 60 or 70 real quick. So I would doubt it'll be still sitting at 55 30 days from now. But we'll see. Exciting times. We will see. It'd be good. I think it would be great if it went kind of sideways and up slowly but surely and consolidated a lot. I think that would show that it's really durable in holding this kind of evaluation. I think that'd be pretty cool. Cheetown's in the house. Craig, do you think people saying they won't own BTC because criminals use it are purely exercising their rights to bear sour grapes? That's the most insane thing. I mean, as if criminals don't use cash? I mean, come on. Criminals are going to use whatever tools are available to them to get the job done. So, of course, if Bitcoin is a good tool, but it really isn't. You can actually glean a lot of information from the blockchain, and a lot of criminals are going to get caught if they're using Bitcoin instead of cash. They really should just use cash. But yeah, that's a stupid reason. That really is a stupid reason to not use Bitcoin. Blues in the house. I'm guessing BTC at 6K. LOL. If it goes down to 6K, that'll be an opportunity for us to buy up some cheap Bitcoin, and I would be buying. I'd be buying even before that. So yeah, I think a lot of people would. Anton's in the house. What about the new 41 millimeter? Better case, not as squarish. Wait, 41 millimeter what? Oh, you mean you're talking about the sub? Yeah, they did improve it. They could have gone further. But they did improve it. Yes. Date 2 was the one. Yeah, I think that was the one, Cheetown, that they first came out with those sleeves. Is that correct? Or did it come out in the Date 840? I know it was one of the two, but I think the Date 8.2 had them. And then they continued it in the Date 840. I'm surprised it took them so long to come up with a solution for the bracelet stretch issue. So, Craig, do you prefer the newer 41 millimeter or the pre-ceramic model? Okay, so, yeah, I think I just talked about that. Yeah, it's obviously an improvement. They did improve the case. I do not like the super case model. I wouldn't buy it, wouldn't own it, wouldn't wear it. JMG's in the house. I'm guessing we can see a few weeks of flat range-bound activity before some new positive news jars it loose, another big institutional buy, or maybe like Apple Computer or something. That would be pretty wild. Craig, I suggest you get a blue dial Yachtmaster 40 as your Sarasota watch. Imagine that dial and bezel shining in the Florida sun. I think I would get I'd probably get a gold Yachtmaster. Yeah, that's probably what I would do. Now, the newer gold Yachtmaster, that's a good question. Does it have the ceramic sleeves? Talk about an ideal watch. Now all of a sudden you've got a beautiful case, you've got a gold watch, you've got a very useful sport watch without the bracelet stretch issues. That would be something to consider. Daniel's in the house. March historically bad for crypto. Just going sideways is a big deal for BTC. Yes, it is. March has been a bad month. But we're going in with a lot of momentum here. I think maybe this might be different this time. But yeah, you're right. Cash is covered in cocaine, says JMG. Cheetown. Criminals trade in stolen APs and steal sport Rolexes as bartering chips. So I guess no one should own one of those watches either. Good point. I have a field day with 6K BTC. Yeah. We'd like to have a time machine and go back and buy a bunch at that price, right? BTC will never go below 20K again, ever again. Interesting. I think I agree with that. I think I would up that to probably 30K. Kyle's in the house. I sent you a gold GS. Okay, well, look, Craig, don't you have the temptation to sell some BTC now? Not really. Not really. You know, I think I've mentioned before on the channel, I'm pretty much playing with the casino's money at this point. I did sell some years ago, enough to recoup my investment, and then some, and even including the Bitcoin that I've purchased last year, I think I'm still ahead. So I think I'm pretty much playing with the casino's money. So I think we're still in an uptrend, and if I was tempted to sell, which I'm really not, I would certainly wait until I thought that we were no longer in a bull market. I think we're definitely in a bull market for at least another 6 or 8 months. So yeah, I don't think this would be the time to sell. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. We will see. Time will tell the tale on all that. Let's look at the email from Time Check. Time Check with the 231 stunner. The other problem is, Carlos, if I were to sell, where would I put the money? I wouldn't want it to sit in USD. Those are losing value like crazy. And I don't know that I want to put it in the stock market right now. I think the stock market might be a little overbought. Oh, this is interesting. Oh, this is an auction. Bidding price. Okay, so we don't know what the actual selling price is going to be here, I guess. Nice. Nice piece. I like it. I like it. I wonder what it was sell for. I like the lighter color dials, though. I don't like the gold dial as much. But I'm sure in person it probably looks pretty stunning. That's a lousy photograph. Let's see. Email the link, Craig. Don't you? Okay. Kyle, I'm getting compliments on my Cleveland Indians Chief Wahoo hat. I'm a rebel against the cancel culture. Kyle says, on the 41 sub, my only complaint is in regards to the way the case wraps around the wrist. I wish it was more like Craig's 231 and conform to the wrist better. It's a bit flat. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, a lot of people buy these watches and they don't wear them and they don't realize these things. And yeah, I mean, wearability is a big deal, I think. That's why I like things like the Yachtmaster. I like the shape of that case better. I like the shape of the case on the DATEJUST better. And of course the Date 8. So yeah, those super cases, and even the new 41, it's still kind of like a super case. No, they haven't gone far enough with that. I don't think they should. They need to fix it. They need to go back to what the old red sub was. They had it right, folks. They had it right. They didn't need to screw it up. What do they say? I spent most of my money on hookers and coke, then blew the rest. Kyle's in the house. I wouldn't listen to them blue. LOL. I'm Irish, and I don't complain about the Boston Celtics leprechaun. Okay. Carlos says, I think there is not traditional Yachtmaster in gold as current Rolex product. Yeah, I think you might be right. I think you might be right, Carlos. Oh, well, these manufacturers, they don't seem to make what I want. Kyle's in the house. We all know that logo was far superior to the Block C logo they use now. Anton Craig, I was saying, I've been watching an Omega gold watch for some time. On some pictures it looks rose gold and some yellow gold on different sites and sellers. How much does 18 karat gold different in color on pictures? Well, it is what it is. I mean, I would try to find out from the seller, is it rose gold or is it yellow gold? And they have a different term for it, I think, than rose gold. But in any event, pink gold or whatever the heck they call it, I would not want it if it's not absolutely yellow gold. So I would clarify that, and I wouldn't go by the pictures. Pictures are not great a lot of times. Kyle's in the house. We are the Cleveland Seas. They are trying to rid the name, and it's just silly. Okay. Cheetown, Craig, what are your thoughts overall on that GME hedge fund squeeze with those Wall Street bets, Redditors? I haven't, obviously I've heard about it, but I haven't studied how it all went down and everything. But I mean, if you can like slap it to the man, then yeah. But at the end of the day, the man might slap back. I'm not a trader. I don't do a lot of that wheeling, dealing, wrangling, and trading and all that. I'm a buy and hold guy for the most part. So yeah, I'm kind of a boring investor. Washington football team, LOL. Yeah. Nice watch. Only thing better, Ivory Dial. Yes. Never sell BTC and then never pay taxes to wasteful governments. In the future, it will be very easy to use BTC as collateral and cash loan, then refinance as BTC appreciates in value, JMG. Yeah, I mean, that's what a lot of the wealthy people do. They borrow against their assets, and that's not income. That's exactly correct. When you sell BTC, that's a taxable event. I would have to pay a capital gains tax on my entire gain, and it's a significant gain. And so that's another reason why I would be very hesitant to sell. That's very wise of you to point out. Kyle's in the house giving up. Now, here's the thing. If Bitcoin crashes to zero, then yes, I should have sold, even with paying the tax, right? Obviously, it would make sense to sell, pay the tax, and have something other than nothing, right? But I don't think it's going to crash to zero, but we'll see. Giving up on pro sports these days. Yeah, I don't watch any of that stuff. I don't have time for all that. Craig, do you like the Calatrava? We've compared my 002 Stunner to the Calatrava, and my 002 trumps it. I think the Calatrava is okay, but this thing blows it away. Just blows it away in every category. The shape of the case, the accuracy, the durability of the movement, the dial, it just blows it away. Even the clasp, the deployant clasp, it just blows a Calatrava away, in my opinion. With all due respect to Carlos, he has a Calatrava. Calatrava is a nice piece, don't get me wrong, but especially if you're going to wear the watch, which I buy these watches to wear, I would definitely get the 002. Derek, Craig, was that a day date, Craig? I was in the kitchen. I can't see in there. Yeah, we were talking about day dates. You got to stay focused. Brett's in the house. Talk about somebody that has a stunning timepiece, a BTFD ASAP. Okay. Anton, it's only in yellow gold, but I mean Pix doesn't show real color. It's so manipulated, not like real life color. That's right. Yeah, the pictures are not going to be accurate. I'm almost out of H2O, which means we're almost going to we're going to have to end this show pretty soon, folks. When I run out of water, that's it. So, Derek, I have the feeling that Craig is considering to indulge himself and get a day date selling some BTC. Derek says he promised that he is getting one new day date. Carlos, there you go. And my AD hasn't even returned my phone calls. They're inside baseball a little bit here. They are not happy with me. Colonial Jewelers, they're the Rolex dealer, and they're not happy with the fact that I've been promoting Grand Seiko so much. They're not real happy with me. And so they might not even renew their sponsorship on Frederick.com. They've been on Frederick.com for like 20 years. They're in the #1 spot under shopping. And they might be dropping out. And I told Steve, if they drop out, I'll put his ad there. I've kept him off of Frederick.com out of respect for them. But if they drop off, I'll give that spot to him. I'll put him right in there. He said he'd love to take their business. So there you go. That's the deal with the AD. The AD is not returning my calls, and they haven't gotten me a Pepsi, and they're not playing ball. G-Town says the Washington Redskins should change their name to the Washington Crooks. Would reflect the demographics of their community better. Yeah, I agree with that. Craig, you need someone that you trust on to launder your BTC if you decide to purchase a watch. Well, here's the thing. As far as I know, Carlos, I shouldn't talk about this on a public live stream. But if I sent the Bitcoin to the seller of the watch, and as long as they didn't report it to anybody, then nobody needs to know, right, that I bought the watch. So now I would have to rely on the fact that they're not going to report it to anybody. But if they're not going to, then that would not be channeled. So Durs in the house, if you never sell Bitcoin and Bitcoin doesn't pay dividends, then where does the profit come in? They're in the house. Well, you can. Now again, you're giving up custody of your Bitcoin, but you can use a service like BlockFi, BLOCKFI, BlockFi.com. Check it out, and they will pay interest. Right now, they pay a certain rate up to 2.5 Bitcoin or something, but over 2.5, I think it's 3%. I have some Bitcoin deposited with them. So you can get 3% interest. And it's not great, but it's not nothing. So if you've got a few $1 million worth of Bitcoin on deposit with them, you're going to be getting a nice, healthy amount of interest every month, right? And you can spend that if you choose to. But again, it's going to be income. It's going to be interest income. So yes, you can get a return on your Bitcoin if you choose to. Now, typically you're going to give up custody on that. It's like depositing money in a bank, right? So there's some risk. So you want to research and make sure that that company that you're trusting your Bitcoin with is rock solid. I don't have all my Bitcoin with them. I have about a third of my Bitcoin deposited with them. So it's a significant amount, but not all. So yeah. Brett's in the house, still rocking my gold Rolex, Craig, trying to buy a Jubilee GMT. Whoa, wow, that would be cool. But they are $18K now. Yeah, I'm sure they are. And the problem is it's hard to find one of those in really good shape. If you could find a new old stock one of those, you'd really be doing good. Daniel's in the house. It would be cool if GS made a yellow gold bracelet with your piece. Yeah, we've talked about that before. It would be neat. But I'll tell you, I love this deployant clasp, and I love the strap on this. It's super comfortable. I was never a strap guy until I got this watch, and now I absolutely love it. It's just so comfortable, and it looks classy. I think it's cool. I like it. And this particular strap is by HD Straps. Okay, I'll send you pics next time, says Anton. Sent a video of my new car, Craig. Yeah, let's see. I mean, I hope it's a YouTube link because an actual video is hard to play. Let's click on this link and see if we can get this to work. Oh, here we go. Okay. All right, so let's play this. Cool. I'll tell you who would love that is Brianna. She loves purple. She would love that puppy. Absolutely. Stunner alert on the channel. Can't go wrong with a Porsche. I don't care what anybody says. All right, that's teasing you guys enough. Brett will be sporting the solid gold DATEJUST profiling in that car. Whoa. Craig, do you even want a Rolex? Not at this point. I'm very happy with my Grand Seikos. I was joking. David SW accepts BTC. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. I mean, if I were to send some BTC to them and buy a watch, and they send me the watch, I don't know that anybody would need to be the wiser. I don't know that they would need to KYC and would need to report it and everything. I don't know. That's a good question if they would have to, if they're required to report that or not. If you pay cash, anything over $10,000, right, they're required to report. I don't know if they're required to report if you buy it with Bitcoin or not. There may or may not be regulations on that yet. Keyword being yet. There's in the house, I think there is a real popular football team overseas called All Blacks. Could you imagine if there was a team called the All Whites? And the All Blacks are the New Zealand national rugby team. And Tom says, but Craig, are you tempted to get a Rolex Date Gold 40 millimeter? Not really. Not really. Like I said, I'm very happy with this gold stunner. I wore Date for many years, and this is every bit as impressive, if not more impressive, in my humble opinion, and a lot more accurate. Let's see. Options for asset-backed loans using Bitcoin and crypto are not great today, but more better options will come as the market develops. If this stuff works out like we think, you'll never sell. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there'll be much lower interest loans than there are now. There's going to be a lot of competition in the space, and absolutely, I agree with what you're saying. I do agree. Carlos says, nice car, Brett. That Porsche's a stunner. Rolex Daytona Panda of cars. Congrats, Brett. Is that purple? It looks like Brief It purple might be a copyright infringement. Haha, says Durr. Yeah, she would love that purple. I think she'll give her stamp of approval on that. Brett, we got to have the 100K party in the Caribbean, Craig. There's a rumor that Michael Saylor is going to throw a 100K party on his yacht. I think he has a yacht in Miami, and I think he has one in Annapolis also. He has several yachts, I think. And there's a rumor he's going to have a 100K party, and hopefully we'll get invited to that. That would be insane. Whites are the New Zealand national soccer team. I had to report my Bitcoin gains for 2017. Well, yeah, if you sold Bitcoin and had a capital gain, I don't care if it's 2017, 2018, 2019, you have to report those gains or they're going to come after you. Absolutely, they're going to come after you. They'll catch up to you. Anton's in the house. Craig, I live in Sweden, and 3 years ago I was in a line for a bar nightclub, and there was 20 tourists before me, and when it was an American from New York, I can tell from his accent, and he told he was Tim Cook's bodyguard. Whoa, okay, interesting. Did the thought of keeping the 005 and selling the 231 ever cross your mind before you sold the 005? I don't really remember everything I was thinking about during that time. But my main reason for selling the 005 is I thought maybe I could use that as a dress watch because it's nice and thin and it's a good size. And then I came to the conclusion that I really wanted a gold dress watch. So that's really the reason why I sold the 005. I would, at the time, I'm sure I was thinking of the 231 as being a sport watch, which I still do. And that's not a dress watch by any stretch, right? So yeah, I'm keeping both, but I've talked a couple times on this channel where if I sold the 231, if a subscriber just had to have it and I sold the 231, I would certainly wear this 002 all the time. I'd wear it all the time. It wouldn't bother me at all to wear this with jeans, and a polo shirt. I love it. I love the watch. Let's see. Typical American bragging style, LOL. Yeah, it sounds like the guy might have been a little bit of a jerk. Kyle's in the house. Bree needs to get the Wrench Gang access to Michael Saylor's party. Yeah, we're going to do our best. We are going to do our best, folks. that will be a party to attend. Durson House, I'm thinking about selling the C6 and either getting a new C8 or a Challenger Hellcat Red Eye. Okay, cool. Cool. A buddy of mine has, I think, a Hellcat. He has one of those cars. We did a test on the dyno on it on my channel. Go ahead and search that, and you'll see the one that he's got. Anton's in the house. That's Dave Serio. He Skyped into the show one time and showed his place down in Florida. He's got a number of nice cars. I just dunk talk. Okay. I like that C8. Doesn't come in stick shift though. Big mistake. Okay. Why did they do that? Brett, was that a GT3? That C8 Corvette is a total stunner, says Cheetown. Anton says drunk talk. Yeah. Okay. All right. We are going to wrap this puppy up. We've been going for more than an hour. Remember, I started early, folks, so I'm not cutting you short here. We started early. So let me see if I can get the cool lower third to play again. Let's see if we can get this to play. I'm going to turn the key on. Hit the little arrow. Hit it again. There we go. This show brought to you by LittleTreasury.com. Actually, they didn't pay anything for this show. But I can pretend like I have an actual sponsor, right? Wouldn't that be cool? And so tune in tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Well, hopefully I'll do a show tomorrow. I don't know yet if I'm doing a show tomorrow. But anyway, we'll do it. We'll do it when we can. Thank you all for tuning in. And it has been absolutely real. It has been absolutely real, I say. I say it's been real. Hey, be sure to subscribe.